That's right. Couldn't figure out where my meeting went. I still had the biffs on there from the later item. All right. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of the March 20th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Geisler, second by Griskoviak. Any discussion, corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, and those minutes are approved. We have two items on our consent agenda this evening. The first one is to accept the water main easement from Aldi Incorporated. As part of Aldi's remodel and expansion project, a segment of their private sewer water service line needs to be relocated further away from the expanded building area. This water service line currently exists within a 20-foot wide drainage and utility easement. The existing easement is being vacated by the council under a separate action. A new 20-foot wide drainage and utility easement must be reestablished over the relocated water line segment. As part of the vacation of the water main easement, a new easement is being provided by the property owner to the city, and the new easement will allow the city access to the water service line for public safety purposes. So this will accept the easement for water main purposes from Aldi Incorporated over, under, and across part of Tract B, Registered Land Survey number 232. The next item on our consent agenda, which is actually agenda item 4 this evening, is to approve the master consulting agreements with HDR Engineering Incorporated and Northern Technologies LLC. From time to time, the city retains consultants for professional engineering services to assist with city projects. Typically, the city contracts with firms possessing expertise in specific areas that cannot be provided by city forces or to supplement existing city services. As opposed to relying on continuing service agreements that are prepared by each consulting firm, staff previously initiated a city master consulting agreement, and at this time, the staff is looking for council approval to add HDR Engineering Incorporated, General Municipal Services, and Northern Technologies LLC for geotechnical and material testing services into the city consultant pool. And with this, we'll be adding HDR Engineering Incorporated and Northern Technologies LLC to the city's consultant pool and authorize appropriate staff to execute such agreements. And that's the end of our consent agenda.
Your Honor.
Councilmember
I make
Kicker.
a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Kicker, second by Demmer. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 5 this evening, then back to that Aldi thing, is the vacation of the water main easement. So Aldi is proposing to expand and remodel a front entrance. As part of the remodel expansion project, a segment of their private water service line needs to be relocated further away from the expanded building area. Does anybody need any more information than that before we do a public hearing? Yeah, before we conduct a public hearing? All right, then, with that, I will open the public hearing for the vacation of the water main easement at Aldi. Is anybody here to address council for the public hearing for vacation of the water main for Aldi? All right, well, with that, we will close the public hearing and look for a motion from council.
Mayor?
Councilmember Demmer.
Go ahead.
Move to adopt Resolution 18-52 vacating a water main easement for Tract B, Registered Land Survey number 232.
Second.
Motion by Demmer, second by Geisler. Discussion?
Just one quick thing.
Sure, Councilmember Demmer.
Anyone following at home, as of right this instant, there are currently 2 water main easements because we made a new one and this gets rid of the old one. We didn't just make one just to get rid of it one meeting item later.
For those playing along at home, I like that, okay.
I'm just glad during this winter storm that water main easement's getting a vacation.
Yeah. All right, so we made the new one, this gets rid of the old one. Good.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or cracks? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. They're back to 1 water main easement. We don't have any bid openings or contract awards. No old business. Under new business, item number 6, planning case number 18-3. Consider approval of preliminary plat and resolution 18-51, granting final plat approval for Pheasant Hills 3rd Edition, Richard Battles. Mr. Harlicker, did you get things, you're gonna come up and, wow, you got a dog and pony show for us? Nice.
Better have a pheasant in it.
How you doing over there? Over here, we've just got check video cable. As long as you can see it out there, we're good to
It's gone. We have nothing. All right, Mayor and Council, maybe we could do old school here. I do have copies of a preliminary plat and final plat that we could use on the overhead.
Okay.
go. No?
No, there we go.
Thank you.
Just feels so 1990 right now.
Overhead projector fired up.
If we could zoom out and get this on the screen a little bit better.
It's in high def.
Well, it isn't high def, that's true.
Yeah. There we go.
Perfect.
This is a preliminary and final plat. The plat 2.3 acres into 2 lots. The property is at the corner of Main Street. Doesn't show up on, I can't cursor on it. Main Street is on the north side of the property, and Shenandoah Boulevard is on the right side. Then it's got this cul-de-sac coming in off of Shenandoah Boulevard. The parcel down, can't do any of that. Okay.
Point to the picture.
There's an existing parcel here as well as an outlot. What the applicant is proposing to do is take those 2 parcels and subdivide it, plat it, so that the outlot, which is lot 2, becomes a buildable lot. In order to do that, they're taking 12 feet from the existing parcel with residence and garage on it. They're taking 12 feet from that and adding it to the outlot so that it becomes a buildable lot. Both lots meet the dimensional requirements of the LDR2 zoning district. The larger lot, lot 1, is 1.57 acres, and the smaller lot, which is lot 2, down at the corner of the cul-de-sac and Shenandoah Boulevard, that is 14,538 square feet. Access to the lots, there's currently a driveway that comes in off the bubble of the cul-de-sac that services the existing residents on lot 1. Access from lot 2 will also be off of 124th. No access is allowed from Main Street or Shenandoah Boulevard per county restrictions and conditions of a previous approval. The existing lot, the larger one, was platted in 1934 as part of Coon Creek Gardens. Lot 2, which was originally an outlot, platted in 1996. That ties into park dedication. Staff is recommending that park dedication for both lots be paid as part of this subdivision. No park dedication was collected at the time of the plating of the original parcel in Coon Creek Gardens. And since this piece down in the corner was originally an outlot, park dedication was not collected on that parcel either. So staff is recommending that park dedication for both lots be collected at this time. Planning Commission saw this plat at their March 15th meeting. They recommended approval of the preliminary plat. Here is what the final plat looks like. It's a little bit cleaner. and you can more clearly see Lot 2 and Lot 1 and where the lot lines are that separate them. Planning Commission recommended approval of the preliminary plat, and attached to your, in your packet tonight is Resolution 1851, which grants final plat approval with the following conditions. Compliance with Title 11, all engineering comments must be addressed. Anoka County Highway Department comments be addressed. Park dedication fees in the amount of $4,000, $2,000 per lot be paid prior to releasing the plat for recording. And access for both parcels must be from 124th Lane. No access allowed from Main Street or Shenandoah Boulevard.
Mr. Harlicker, what was the purpose, do you think, of cutting off an outlot? If an outlot wasn't buildable and we don't charge for a park dedication fee at the time that it's an outlot, or what, this is probably a planning 101 that I should know. What's the difference between an outlot and a lot that you can build on then?
Mayor and council, outlots are traditionally, like you said, remnant pieces that aren't developable. There's no way to combine them in with a plat, so they're left as an outlot. In this case, it was almost big enough to build on, so I can only assume that at some point in the future, the original developer who still owns this outlot thought, well, maybe he'd be able to get property from the property to the north to make it meet the dimensional requirements and therefore make it be able to plat it and make it a buildable lot.
Oh, so this was cut off from a property from the south then?
Correct.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant that this was cut off of that 1934 lot in 1996, and that's why I couldn't figure out the sequencing there.
No.
So
this outlot was part of the original Pheasant Hills.
Got it.
Plat.
Thank you. Now it makes sense.
That probably explains Outlot B as well, because I was trying to figure out what the point of that was.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Johnson?
In planning case 18-3, I would move approval of the preliminary plat and approval of resolution 18-51, granting final plat approval for Pheasant Hills 3rd edition with the 5 stated conditions as recited by Mr. Harlicker.
Okay.
Second?
So we have a motion by Johnson and a second by Kicker. Mr. Harlicker, I know they had a question about the park dedication fee. So that can't be deferred, that has to be paid before it can be recorded?
Mayor and council, it's been past policy that we collect park dedication fees prior to plat being recorded. I know the applicant is in the audience that you'd like to speak to you about that. But it's been our policy to collect it prior to releasing the plat for recording, so we've got a little better control over how the park dedication is paid and when it's paid.
Okay. Because I know we had that come up where they couldn't have a building permit. It was on a different parcel. The plat was done, but they couldn't get their building permit until the dedication, the park dedication fee was paid. But that must have been a different scenario. That must have been a different sequencing or something.
That could be.
All right.
Councilman
Piscoviak.
I've got a question. This is kind of similar to what happened just on 124th, just a little bit west of here, where they split a lot. In that case, the second lot had like deferred assessments on it because it hadn't been developed. Is that a similar case here, or can you tell me about that?
Council member and Mayor, I'm not aware of any outstanding assessments on this property. I don't know, typically park dedication has not been assessed at, I think on 124th. Those assessments related to street and utility improvements.
Okay. Then in that, it's very similar to what just occurred actually down on 124th. Okay.
Okay. So right now, we have a motion and a second to just approve this the way it is. And it really wouldn't be under the purview of this council to make any other decisions about this park dedication fee anyway, whether it be deferred or not.
I'd have to defer to city attorney on that one.
We had a motion, and I think it's actually within our ordinance, that the park dedication be paid prior to the plat being recorded.
Okay.
I mean, part of that is so that we get paid.
Because we're all about getting paid.
Well, if it's a requirement.
Yep, I know. We owe it to the rest of the taxpayers in town, so, yeah.
This is.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 7, consider resolution 17-28, sub-8, approving plans and specifications and ordering advertisement for bids, Riverwalk sanitary sewer rehabilitation. This is the one that the Met Council discovered was failing, or is this a different one now?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is the one we talked about in work session a few months back. It's our main collector line that runs to the Met Council lift station.
Kind of a big deal.
Yes.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about, Mr. Himmer, on this, or?
I think we've discussed it
Yeah.
a few times. We've looked
Sure.
at the condition assessment. You've seen some of the pictures. It is a big deal. Everything south of the railroad tracks flows through these pipes.
42-inch diameter sewer pipe. That, yeah, that's a lot.
Goes under Coon Creek, and yeah, it's important.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Geisler, thank you.
Energy, yeah. I make a motion to adopt resolution 17-28 sub 8, approving plans and specifications and ordering advertisement of bids for the Riverwalk sanitary sewer rehabilitation project.
Second.
Motion by Geisler, second by Johnson. Any discussion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Griscoviac?
Mr. Himmer, is this project going to be completed in 2018? That's the intent?
Councilmember Shkoviak, this would be something that would be done by like August,
ASAP.
September, because we need to get it done before the Met Council comes along.
Got it. In the notes here, it says the budget impact, it says that this isn't budgeted in 2019, but I think that's probably a misprint. It wasn't budgeted in 2018. That's
Correct.
all
I
it means?
apologize. It
Okay.
should have been 18.
I just wanted to make sure. That's it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 8 this evening is to consider amendment to memorandum of understanding with Anoka County HRA Community Development Block Grant Program. Mr. Fernelius, you want
Mr.
to?
Mayor, Council, I can briefly provide a summary of this item. So this is a topic that, as Council is aware, we've previously discussed back in February. The action tonight is to amend an existing memorandum of understanding, or MOU, between the Anoka County HRA and the city regarding the Community Development Block Grant Program, or CDBG program. These are federal dollars that the city has received going back to the early 2000s. As council is aware, we primarily have used those funds for a deferred loan program for single-family rehab, and we lost that service provider, which was the Housing Resource Center, back in 2017, and we were unable to find another provider for that program. So in the interest of expediting the use of those dollars, we discussed the idea of reprogramming the 2017 and 2018 CDBG funds for other uses. The 2017 dollars would be reprogrammed for an apartment rehab project here in Coon Rapids, Galway Place, which is owned by Common Bond. And the 2018 program funds would go into the countywide program for distribution as part of their normal process. Going forward then, as part of this action, the city would then become part of the county's broader CDBG program. We would not be taking our separate entitlement allocation for the next few years. I think it's 2021 where we can revisit the idea of opting back into the program, but for the next few years, we'll be part of the county's program. So this really relates specifically to the 2017 and 2018 program years. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. I don't think anybody has any questions. Councilmember Kicker.
I make a motion that the council approve amendment number 3 to the memorandum of understanding with the Anoka County Housing and Redevelopment Authority related to CDBG program administration through September 30th, 2019.
Second.
Motion by Kicker, second by Demmer. Discussion? Councilmember Geisler?
We've had a lot of different conversations about this, and, you know, I trust that the county, I mean, they do a good job with the program, and Ms. Skipper?
Karen
Skipper, if I said that right, does a great job, and that we'll be able to look at that. I think we've just asked that, you know, we get progress reports, and so when we look at it again in 2 or 3 years, or that council does, that we can continually evaluate if this is the right thing, but I think it is the right thing for now.
Yeah. Councilmember Griscoviac?
How do we continue to look for an administrator? So,
Councilmember
isn't that the whole issue?
Yeah, well, so the broader CDBG program would be administered by Anoka County, and they would also handle they handle the county-wide housing rehab program that the Housing Resource Center used to do for Coon
That's it,
Rapids and a
okay.
few other communities. So Anoka County would essentially take on that role.
Mr. Stemwedel?
Mayor, Council, maybe in that regard, I think part of what we would look for approaching that 2021 date is what are the options again? At this time, we really don't have an option outside of a plausible option outside of going with the county at this point to administer that program. As we approach that 2021 date, we would evaluate, you know, how has the county done? What's the progress been like there? Are there new options now that didn't exist a couple years ago? Things like that, just to put those choices in front of that council and see if a decision to go back might be made, or if we're happy with the county, we'd stay with them.
Councilmember Johnson?
And along those lines, does the city have any ideas from staff as to how to encourage our residents to participate in the county's program so that residents in Coon Rapids know that there is that ability to participate? And also, as I understand it, the city could apply each year for regular CDBG project funding as new projects such as multifamily things come up. Are there plans to do that?
Yes, Councilmember Johnson. So we are in the process right now, once this agreement is approved this evening, to work with the county directly about how we handle the transition. There were Coon Rapids residents who were on our waiting list, so they would be the first priorities to make sure that they're aware of the transition to the county program. Then we'll need to update our marketing materials so that we reflect where folks can go for those kinds of resources. So as part of that process, we'll make sure that our residents are aware that this program is still available. We don't administer it, but where they can go to access the dollars.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Is there any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. And we've effectively, we'll look at that for 2021 then, huh? Nice. All right. Consider item number 9, consider authorization of direct purchase of prefabricated facilities for the 2018 Park Improvements Project 17-12. Is this going to be a similar building to what's in Woodcrest then? Is that?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, very, very similar, different type of finish, but yes.
Okay. And I know that'll be a separate action, but we're still looking for a way to actually access that building then, right? It's like some sort of a way for them to get into it without having to have a key, or, I mean, Councilmember Demmer, can you help me out here?
So I was gonna wait, but I did notice we have an approximate savings of $25,000 for this item, which does seem like it would be able to be used to pay for some sort of security system, or, you know, probably a couple of cleanups too. But yeah, it would be good, and you know, really looking at citywide, the Woodcrest building, these buildings, whatever goes into the new Lions Park, and coming up with some best practice that other cities already use to allow residents to access it. Because I understand the challenges balancing the vandalism and the problems and the very expensive cost of people messing these places up, you know, and walking into a just horrible place as opposed to keeping it clean. But the balance between having the buildings and not being able to use them versus, I'm certain there are things out there that we could probably do for less than $25,000 that would enable that use. So it's awesome that you guys found a way to save that money, so now we know what we can spend it on.
And I'll just add, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we're setting this up with electronic door locks, so we could program it to open and close at the times we would choose. And I'll certainly ask the question, can we modify that the same way we kind of have key fobs here, and see if there's some opportunity, at least to start here, and then investigate all the rest of them.
And even if it was a policy like people in that neighborhood can sign up to get the fobs, or, whatever, people in the pickleball area can see, just some way that we feel like we're giving as much access as we can to let the people who are going to be there use it while preventing it from getting messed up. I don't know. I'm sure there are other cities who have solutions, so I'm not asking us to invent anything, just to find out what works.
But you are kind of an inventor otherwise, so.
Well, not in this space.
Oh. All right.
With keys.
We had a motion in a second, right?
No,
No.
I don't think we finished reading it.
We didn't finish reading it? All right. I asked a question, and then I just threw the wheels off. All right. So we are looking at, as part of the park bond referendum, Crooked Lake and Riverwind Parks were approved by council for redevelopment in 2018. The project plans and specs completed by WSB, detailed requirements for the contractor to secure and purchase the restroom facility for Crooked Lake Park. After review of the restroom details, it was discovered that savings could be realized by soliciting quotes from additional vendors and having the city purchase directly to avoid sales tax. Quotes were received from 3 vendors and are summarized as follows. We're looking at Crest Precast Incorporated of La Crescent, Minnesota, provided the low bid of $71,500. So while the city will purchase the building directly, the general contractor for the park project will still handle all coordination and prep activities needed to receive and place the structure at Crooked Lake Park, and a change order will be prepared for the adjustment in contract costs. Councilmember Demmer.
Move to authorize the issuance of a purchase order to Crest Precast Inc. in the amount of $71,500 for the direct purchase of a prefabricated restroom facility for Crooked Lake Park.
Second?
Motion by Demmer, second by Griscoviac.
Kicker.
Kicker? No kidding.
Yeah.
Sorry. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 10 on our agenda is to consider adopting the updated City of Coon Rapids water supply plan. Little light reading there, Mr. Himmer?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, I'll give you just a broad brush of this. This has been about 15 to 16, 18 months in the works. It consolidates some of the other things we talked about in work session related to the comprehensive plan with our water supply plan, our wellhead protection. It's kind of all in one spot. This is the final stop, approving this resolution and formally adopting it, file the paperwork, and this is our new plan. Until the DNR requests the next update to it. Water supply evaluation, just as the city, looking forward into the future. How does it mesh with the Met Council's 2040 land use planning? And part of the bigger pieces are emergency preparedness. How would we respond to different events? What would be the triggers for allocation and demand reductions? Water conservation planning, what we've done so far, what we can do in the future to continue to protect that resource. And with that, I'll stand and answer any questions you have.
Thank you. It's a very interesting document with all the detail in there. Who are, all the water use and how the trends over the years. I was surprised to see that little car wash on Coon Rapids Boulevard is our 10th largest water user in town. Like right behind the whole community college.
And the city.
And the city of Blaine. I was waiting for my opportunity.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It doesn't read very well because it's a fill-in-the-blank form by the DNR, so it's not like you're putting this together. It's checking boxes and filling in tables, and so it doesn't necessarily flow all that well, in my opinion. And the way that it's structured isn't great, but we're through it. It was a long process, and I'm happy to report I get to put it in front of you for adoption tonight.
We're always happy to help our neighbors.
All right. So let's see, and we have to do this because we are a public water supplier serving more than 1,000 people. Yeah, so anyway. Council, questions, motions, what do you want to do?
Your Honor.
Councilmember Demmer.
And just, so I'll make a motion, I just note that the DNR already approved it, and they even have language like, "We are pleased to see," and so this is move to adopt the attached water supply plan and authorize the certificate of adoption as required by the DNR.
I'll second that.
Motion by Demmer, second by Johnson. Discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember
I'd just
Griscovian?
like to point out that, as you said, 18 months worth of work here, and this has passed numerous regulatory bodies, not just the DNR. So on behalf of the city, nice job by Public Works to get this through. I know this was not easy.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, this other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. And that was, and all of that work that our water utility department is doing is part of the reason why we moved up a click on our insurance stuff too, right? We moved from a 4 to a 3 rating for, because of how we're maintaining everything and flushing hydrants, and wasn't that all kind of part and parcel with all the management of the water utility? Look at, John, our fire chief's got an answer for me. Chief Piper?
Mayor, council member, if you're talking about the ISO rating, it encompasses a lot of things, and our water supply rating is rated as high as it can be, thanks to all the efforts of our public works people.
Yes, I knew I wasn't way out in the weeds.
We put out premiums water in this state.
There you go, 10,000-year-old glacier water putting out those fires. All right, item 11, consider resolution number 18-53, approving the Lions Coon Creek Park Playground Grant Application. Mr. Hammer.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we talked about this briefly in work session last week. It's an opportunity for us to seek an outdoor recreation grant from the DNR. The funds would be utilized in Lions Coon Creek Park, which is now going into design for 2019 construction. Looking to kind of get that signature playground, that destination type playground, and provide full ADA accessibility would be the goal. We'll see where we end up with funds and what can be absorbed within that budget, but that's what this is being earmarked for, and it would also match a donation from the Lions Group as well that contributed $50,000.
If awarded, this competitive grant would provide matching funds up to the $50,000 pledged by the Coon Rapids Lions Club for the project.
Correct.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right,
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember
I'll
Geisler?
make a motion to adopt resolution 18-53, approving the application for the DNR's outdoor recreation grant program.
Second.
Motion by Geisler, second by Wells. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. And we are on to the open mic public comment portion of the meeting. Are you here for open mic? Wow, all right. Nobody here for open mic. We'll close that portion. We don't have any reports on previous open mics. Other business? Council? Wow.
Snowplows out tonight?
4 a.m. full plow.
Okay.
4 a.m. going out for a full plow?
Yep. Hitting
And-
school zones and.
So if your cars are out, if you could move them in tonight, that would be great, because our ordinance went on April Fool's Day, right? April 1st.
Yeah, at the same time, my street supervisor retired, so. That's an excellent point, Councilmember Johnson, I appreciate getting that out. Yes, if you remove your vehicles, that will make sure we can clear those roads. Otherwise,
Please help the city out.
yes.
It's always frustrating when you drive down the street and there's that big wing where they had to go around a car that was parked, and, yeah. Mr. Stemwittle?
I was just going to mention that we have the Coon Rapids Fix-It Clinic this Saturday at the Public Works facility from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can bring in household appliances, clothing, electronics, things like that, and there's a crew of people there who can try to fix it for you or help you fix it if they can at all. And then finally, our last dessert and concert series will be held on April 12th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. featuring the Mooners, which is a rock band down at our Civic Center. And that'll wrap up that series for this year.
Is that $7 or something?
They are, let's see, $8 for adults, $6 for seniors, $5 for children, 12 and under.
Just a real nice event, real nice.
Now, on the Fix-It Clinic, I've been asked by a couple of people, is it a free service or is it a for fee service?
It is a free service, Councilmember
There you
Johnson.
go. So if you got something that needs tinkering with, bring it in.
You got it.
It's impressive to go through there and see those guys work, see those folks working on the stuff. They got their sewing machines going, there's toolboxes where they got all the little fasteners and things with them. and-
I'm bringing something this year.
Right?
Yeah.
Your toolbox or a
No.
thing- something to fix?
I need a power drill that needs some work on it. so. I figure two heads are better than one.
So you're hoping there'll be two guys to work on it?
That's right.
All right, any other business to come before council? All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Demmer, second by Kicker. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, we're adjourned.